All right, this is already $1 million program as is, so I think I'm done with it. To save a program, you can just hit Control S, or you can just hit these, I should say Control Shift S, I guess, to save everything. Or you can just hit these double discs up in the top left. That's all you gotta do. So let's make a new project. So I can create a new project like we did originally when we launched Visual Studio, but now that I'm already in Visual Studio, I guess I can show you how to make a new project within the program itself. So just in the top left file, new project, and it's the same setup as before. You should have this recent templates. You should have your Windows form app here, because if your first one used this template, you can pin it here and you're ready to go just by clicking that. And what should we call this one? Let's call it, I'm going to call it Rocket. And my save location is in my H drive, in my computer science folder, in my Unit 1 folder. Very important. I don't need to worry about any of this other stuff. That's fine, yada, yada, yada. And let's create. So a familiar screen. We're starting from scratch again. What is the first thing you should do when you create a new project? Well, you should click on your window here, your form, and we should change the text. So let's call it Rocket. And you should rename this form, which doesn't seem important right now, but it will be once you have multiple forms in your projects. So let's burn it into our brains now. Careful when you are renaming this form. This is a very easy mistake to make. Do not erase everything. Do not erase your .cs extension. Keep that there or you're going to have a tough time. So I'm going to call it Rockets, and make sure you have your .cs. Otherwise, that's not good. You need that extension there. Press enter, you're renaming a file, yada yada. And there we go. What else should I do for every project I make? Well, let's add an icon. I don't like this default icon, so let's get another one. Icon archive. Make my life easy. Get something related to your project. So I'm going to get a picture of a rocket. And this one looks pretty cool. I like that circle. Careful, this might just download the PNG. We don't need that. We need the .ico file. So I'm going to download the ICO file there. And as long as it's somewhere you can find it, it's probably going to be in your downloads folder. I am just going to put it in my fake H drive, because why not? And back on Visual Studio, I can change my icon by clicking on my form first and changing the icon property by clicking the ellipses, and I should see my icon file right there. If you don't see it, if you can't find your, if you're in the appropriate folder and you can't find it, that means you've probably downloaded a PNG and you need to find an ICO file. So just make sure you have it as an ICO. Boom. Much better already. All right, so for this project, let's look at our controls here. We've done buttons, we've done labels. Picture boxes are going to be pretty common in your program. So picture boxes lets us display a nice, beautiful picture. So I'm just going to make this form a little bit bigger. And there's my picture box. And of course it's empty because I don't have a picture. So let's get a picture. So I don't need an ICO file for this one. I can download any picture. So let's go let's go rockets PNG. And I want one that's going vertical. This one looks pretty good. So I'm going to save image. And this wants me to save it as a web file. That is no good. I need a PNG. I told Google I want a PNG and they threw a web file at me, which the disrespect, but that's okay. Easy fix. If you come across a file you're trying to save and it's a web file, you can just take a screenshot. You can also open up the snipping tool. Sorry, I just kind of did that without explaining it. So in the search bar, if you just pop open this snipping tool, you can take a new snip and you can select the area of your screen that you want your snip to be. And now I can save this as a PNG. So this PC, my H drive, my comp sci, my pictures, and I'll just call it Rocket. Doesn't really matter. Boom. So back in Visual Studio, now that I have a picture saved, I have my Picturebox and I can click this little arrow here. And this will let me choose an image. And I've got no images in my project yet. We just created the project. So let's go ahead and import my first image. Just hit OK. And change the size mode. I always like the zoom size mode because it basically changes the size of the image to my Picturebox. Now, you may run into this. You download an image and it's got a background. And this particular image has a checkered background. That's not really appealing. So I'll show you another trick. If you ever come across an image like this, installed on your school computer, you should have a program called paint.net. So if you launch the program and you open the image that you just saved, like so, very easy to get rid of the background. This little tool right here is called the Magic Wand tool. And all you have to do is click on it, and you have to click the background. And this is a little bit of a tricky image because what the Magic Wand tool is doing is it's selecting all of the pixels that are similar to the pixel you clicked on. So you can play around with the tolerance. And you see, if you turn the tolerance up, it basically covers your whole image. I don't want to do that. I just want the background. So I'm going to scale it down some more. Oh, I got half the hull. Down some more. Oh, that's too far down. And this is actually a nasty image because the background looks like my rocket's white and the background's white. So Paint.net's having a tough time deciphering between the two. So hopefully you don't run into that problem. I am. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to... I hope you don't have to do this because this is just annoying. I'm going to deselect this part of my rocket. Do not do this. Just find a new image if you have to do this. It's not worth it, but I'm committed, so I'm going to deselect the parts of my rocket that I want to keep. This just turned into a graphic design course. And it's not going to be perfect, but it doesn't have to be. I didn't like that last one. Whatever. Good enough. I've got the background selected, and then delete the background. And it's funny, it looks like you still have the checkered background, but that's just how PNGs work. So now if I save this as Rocket, I'm going to save over it. Well, probably because it's open in my Visual Studio, so I'm going to save it as Rocket 2. And I'm going to change the image to Rocket 2. And you can see in my Solution Explorer, my file, you can see that one has the white background and one doesn't. So one has that transparent background, which is nice. There we go. I got rid of it. And we can see that it is gone more easily by if I click on the form and I change the background color. Let's pick a nice sky blue color. There we go. No more checkers. There, a little graphic design lesson there for you. All right. I've got my image. Now, just an FYI, if you go into Project and you go into your project's properties at the bottom, you can go into Resources, and I actually have 3 resources in my project. I've got the first rocket I put in, I've got the second rocket, and then actually, if you look back at the video, I actually put in this rocket twice. Because these images are in my project, I don't actually need them saved to my computer anymore. They've been uploaded and they are in my project. So you could delete them if you want. Up to you. Do not delete anything in here though. Just leave them be. And this kind of just shows you a list of the images you have in your project. All right, cool.